Whispers float in empty halls. Footsteps echo down the walls. Shadows break where secrets lie. Every echo holds a hidden sign. Blow the trace along the crime, a hush that haunts the night, a fear that lives in light. Unravel lines of twisted lies. In the dark, the story waits unseen.
And here we go.
Hi, I'm Rochelle, the Psychic Sleuth. Spirit shows me patterns across past, present, and future. What comes through can be symbolic, metaphoric, or not always literal, though sometimes it is. Messages often carry multiple meanings that weave together through energetic tracking, prophetic sequencing, and blueprint mapping. I know I talk fast sometimes, it's just how spirit flows through me. You can always replay or slow down if you need to. I triple check what I receive with astrology and cards, but this isn't about being 100% right. It's about truth, responsibility, and integrity. I'm the one sitting with spirit on these cases, so this is a space for truth seeking, not debate. Please respect the work. If you can't honor spirit, this may not be the place for you. And before we start, I want to make something clear. My process has evolved for a reason. I don't use sitters anymore. I don't do live channeling on heavy cases, and I won't be performing on command. That's not safe, it's not accurate, and it pulls the work off track. I work the way spirit directs me through mediumship, pattern recognition, astrology validation, cards when needed, and prophetic sequencing. Every layer strengthens the message and protects the integrity of the case. Please don't tell me how to do my job. This isn't about entertainment. It's about truth, responsibility, and helping families. If my style isn't for you, that's okay. But this is how I work, and this is how the work stays accurate. If my work resonates, the best way to help is through community support for Justice's Cadaver Dog Training Fund. It doesn't take huge donations. Even the cost of a coffee adds up when many give. Shop new merch and help Justice on his mission. Links to my shop and donation page are pinned below. Every purchase helps fund the work. Thank you for being here. Now let's get on to today's case. Hey guys, welcome back to the Psychic Sleuth channel. So just to remind you guys that the offerings are on the community page if you want to check those out. If you want to get into the raffle, that is still available till tomorrow. Also, my readings that are 20 minutes that I do Wednesdays and Fridays are going to be available for $20 off. So they're about $65 till tomorrow. So midnight tomorrow, everything goes back to its normal thing. The ways to support me are very much appreciated because it does help me be able to work on cases, which I'm going to have to actually step back from cases for a moment so I can get caught up on everything. So I might be doing a lot of lives or whatnot. But those offerings kind of enable me to be able to keep doing this and not have to do those types of things. So, all right. Now on this channel, we focus on truth. We don't always focus on the narrative. And I go by my cards, I go by my visions, and I go by the astrology. I like to use cross-validation tools because things are not always as they seem. And in this case of Camila, it's been bugging me, and actually I was going to do an auto rate today about the whole thing, and I might still do that because it's one of those things where, just like Rebecca's case, I was being pulled back in, and it was like, that's not the truth. It's if we remember back to the original cards that I got, it was not everything is as it seems. So when I get that card, that tells me that there's something wrong here. There's something wrong with the narrative. Now, I reran the astrology for probably the 6th time, and I keep getting the same thing. There is a perpetrator in that chart. It is not reading like a suicide chart. So I will go over the astrology after the cards. I will try to dumb it down as much as I can for you. And the reason why I want to put the astrology out is because I know people are going to come after me and say, oh, we were completely wrong, blah, blah, blah. Literally, the part in the reading where I said circle back, I was saying circle back to locations that have already been searched. Apparently, she was found in a place that had already been searched. Not far from the home, which is what I said. Not far from the home. I said, yes, or southwest, this area is relevant to me, but you would look for places closer to home as I'm describing. You need to circle back to places that have already been searched because I felt like she was placed thereafter. And I know it's going to look like something different, but this is why I'm going to tell you what the cards I got were again, how I take them. Now, cards are symbolic. They, have something to do with the whole case, everything surrounding it. And then I'm going to go over the astrology with you the best that I can. And try to dumb it down to where people can understand it. And you will see where I'm coming from. Now, every time I talk about this, these balls go off. So somebody is wanting to be heard. Somebody is pushing me to do this. And whenever I hear that something comes out and I feel like I'm completely off, it makes me feel like I can't be that off. I gotta quit. And I start spiraling because there's a lot of pressure in this work. There's a lot of pressure to be right. There's a lot of pressure to get it right. There's a lot of pressure to not mess up. And so that's why before I ever bring anything to you guys, I go over it and I go over it and I go over it. And I validate it every possible way that I can. Through visions, cards, astrology, everything. So I don't need anybody else to send me any more messages. I'm well aware. So when I first started pulling these cards, I said, I need the truth on Camila. Give me the truth on Camila. I hope I'm saying her name right. And the first card I got was no foul play, right? Because that is the picture that's going to be painted. Because they've been pushing the suicide narrative since the beginning because she had those, mental health issues. She's young, right? But directly after that, we have the foul play card. So again, I asked Spirit, I said, I want the truth on this situation because I had already looked at the astrology yet again. And I pulled no foul play because that's what's going to be said. But there is foul play. And after the foul play card, what do we get? And some of these cards are going to repeat. If you saw the first reading, you'll see that they're going to repeat. The next card we got, manipulated departure. So we have no foul play because that's what's being said. But right next to it, the foul play card, what are the odds that I pulled it like that after asking? And then we have manipulated departure card yet again. That's the second time I pulled that. So not taken by force, yet not entirely free departure was the result of an influence, grooming, or emotional coercion. Okay, then we have the gunshot card. Now, apparently, allegedly, that's what's being said right now. There was a firearm with her, whatever. Now, easily could be covered up because originally had the asphyxiation card. That's also in her chart. Originally, we got that card. It's in here again. But this is what's being said. It's still part of the story. But what's weird is, really, an authority figure, a gunshot by an authority figure, again, authority figure showing up in the cards. Okay, that's kind of interesting. All right, someone that is an authority figure to her. It is somebody that, uses their influence to manipulate or conceal. And it's next to the gunshot card. After the manipulated departure card, okay? Keep that in mind. Out of all these cards I could have gotten, these are highly accurate for me. These are the cards that I made. I do have an intentional exit card. I didn't pull that card anywhere. Just saying. Then we have the overkill pattern, which anything by a weapon is. And again, we have fear and held against their will. Yet again, the second time this card has come out early on in the spread. Last time the ball went off with it, held against their will and fear. Now, next thing we have is there's a silent witness. This came in last time. There's a silent witness out there that knows something that's not saying something. What they ever will, who knows? Now, you have to remember, cards, they're an extension of the user, okay? The more psychic someone is, the more accurate the cards are. I like to use them as validation purposes. I made my deck for a reason. So now we have walked away of their own free will, but abduction next to it. Okay? So yes, it's made to look like she walked away of her own free will, which she did leave, apparently, allegedly, but the abduction card is right next to it. Okay? And why do you think the circle back card came in? Because I told everybody. That was the biggest part of that whole reading of location, was circle back to places that had already been searched, which is what was in my tip to law enforcement. Circle back to places you've already searched. And there is drainage in her chart. So remember, we had moved card a couple times, and I might see what cards come out there. I might pull some more cards too, because this has been driving me a little batty today. So then we have, again, a delusion card, yet again, and a mature elder. Okay, someone older. And again, now this part's kind of confusing me, because the dating partner came in last time, and I know she's not with her partner anymore, and this doesn't scream domestic, but maybe she was dating somebody that was a neighbor, maybe that was older. I don't know, because dating partner and neighbor come in again. And next to the neighbor card, the asphyxiation card. Again. Okay? Again. And there's a weapon card. Okay, now we have the pack card. So multiple people either know or involved, something of that sort. Pack card comes in when it could involve loyalty, codependency, or mutual protection of one another. It's two or more individuals working together with shared interests. That's what my pack card is. Okay. Then we have power and control by an adult over. I'm thinking that this is Camila in this, because this is power and control over an adult female, which she's 19. So I kept calling her a teenager. I thought she was younger, but she's 19. That's an adult. So even though she's young, it still comes in as young and adult in here, because that would be considered a young adult. But we literally have power and control over an adult female. Okay, see how my cards kind of tell a story? Then we have mental instability, which is what she was being painted to have, and she may have had that. She was struggling, I guess, but I feel like it was pushed a little too much. Like, I don't know, I don't feel like you make plans to go dress shopping just unalive yourself, like, and you tell your friends I love you, bye. That's not really anything weird, but I think it was made to look more than it was. So you have mental instability. And then we have now I'm taking this, the murder suicide card and the young, okay, because it was a murder, but it's made to look like a suicide. And she's young, like I said, a young adult. What's really weird here, the next cards, which, looking deeper in the chart, I don't know. We had the mother card come in before that was, like I said, acquaintance mother. So I took that as an acquaintance of the mother, but she's all in these cards again, oddly. Revenge mother. Okay. Neglect. Organized crime, again, I always take that usually as symbolic. Most of the time it's symbolic. It comes out a lot as it was an organized crime. Digital footprint. She was seen on Camera allegedly, although now recently I've seen that footage. One looks like a male. Doesn't really look like her in shorts. But we have the digital footprint, and we have lust desire again by a false ally. Okay. So was she lured out, or was she going to go see somebody that was a false ally that was a male, that maybe she was trying to get some help with? A lot of times when girls are also religious, I mean, it can happen, it does happen. You know what Christians think when they harm themselves. You know how their feelings are about that. So, I mean, who's to say she didn't want to go and get some help somewhere, or go to talk to somebody, go to talk to this neighbor? It's weird. I keep pulling the neighbor card and false ally card and lust and desire card. Like, and I don't know much about, like her family, the family dynamics there. I don't know if mom was seeing anybody or not, but there's also protection for a couple. Obsession again, that card again, homicide card again. Weird. Again, known to victim. Again, anger, rage. Again, family member in plain sight. Take this as symbolic burned. Okay, like she was burned by a family member in plain sight. Okay, now I just pulled the few location cards. I know she's already been found, but I was just curious because the circle back card came in twice before, which is always go back to where you already searched because you missed something or something was placed after the fact. So that came in the first reading twice. So I got some of the same cards, and I'll tell you what was interesting. So first we have remote. So it felt remote, like, at least. Not like saying like it's in the middle of anywhere, but it usually sometimes it can be like a place that's overlooked or needs to be refocused on, and it can be like isolated areas that may delay discovery. So that had come in before. Off the beaten path had come in before too. Let's see. So not everything is hidden in plain sight. This suggests a location far from routine, past, perhaps down an old trail, an abandoned road, an area long forgotten. So off the beaten path, somewhere that they didn't look. And interesting enough, the circle back card came in again. What do you know? So again, for the third time, circle back came on. And then I said, well, was she moved? Because that's what I wondered, if she was placed there after they searched it. And I'll be damned if the next card wasn't moved. Just saying. And if she really did do this to herself, why would I get the moved card every time I pulled? Just saying. Then we have Woods Highway. I don't know what it looks like where she was found. I didn't see. I know people send me messages. I haven't looked because I just haven't. So we have Highway, Woods, and then we have Path, Trail, and then we have Liminal Zones, which liminal zones again is like, spaces like in between, like a fence line or a road, off a road, or like, liminal spaces, gateways, threshold spaces like woods, field, like between woods and fields, And then we have fork in the road. So it could be a literal fork, or it could be symbolic for choices. Also, let's see. Interesting, because I pulled this last time too. And it is the path splits, and with it, the energy, a key choice divergence, or a physical split in the road, holds clues which way was taken, which way was meant to mislead. So, got that twice too. And remains revealed. She's been found. Already pulled this card before. I said she would be. And the interesting, a never left card again, which is weird to me. Usually means like they never left their space. Like they never left the last place they were at. Crossroads again. It may mark a pivotal moment in the case where paths diverged. Decision was made, or a victim was last seen. Symbolizes thresholds between life and death. May also symbolize an anchor point, like literal crossroads. And then water drainage again. I mean, I don't know if that's where she originally was and then was moved after or what, but the drainage was in the astrology. It keeps coming up in the cards. I mean, it can be around the area. I don't know. I don't know where she was found to look. So I'm gonna pull some more. I'm gonna pull a little bit deeper here. All right, it just keeps getting crazier. So I pulled some more different crime cards. This is the different deck. I'm gonna use multiple decks because I like to cross-validate as much as I can. I'm not just one that throws shit out there without any backup. And this is the only backup I can give you. So we have curse. We have explosive manipulation. Rumors. Watch. Again. Because I got stalking before. We have communication and a paper trail. Okay, so there's some sort of paper trail with communication somewhere. Propaganda, which is fake news. So don't listen to everything you're hearing. It's fake news. It's about power. There's something with the timeline that's off, or time change. And that had to do with the strategy of this. An alarm is another, like, yes, there could be an alarm like, hello, wake up, but also this can be a time change card. But strategy. She was happy about her breakup. I don't know if she thought of it as a gift, or there could be a gift that we receive in the case in some way. Egotism is a big thing here. Greed. Secret society, which is just, that could be a religious thing or just a group of people with same ideas. There's some sort of debt, and there's abuse neglect. I keep getting the abuse neglect card, or the abuse neglect. Freedom. Secret. Down the rabbit hole. Oh, interesting. Cover up. Delays. Reptilian. This isn't even in the right spot. Stalking again. Revenge. Oh, affair. Was there an affair going on that this is revenge for? I mean, I don't know anything about that situation, but interesting. Revenge affair. Lord. And it was a secret chip. Lord. False flag. There's a false flag here. I'm telling you, this whole situation is a false flag. What's being portrayed now is a false flag, and there's gaslighting going on. There was gaslighting going on. Interestingly enough, I pulled the good sixth sense. I think this has something to do with me about it being staged. Drama. It's top secret. There's really evil. And it's an inside job. False accusations. Justice. Soul contract. Distraction. Lies. Exposed. I mean, I don't know how much more clear this could get. There's something weird going on here. I just can't fully see it. I think it has something to do with the Neptune in the chart. It's really my kryptonite on seeing things clearly. I just know something's not right. And here we go again, just like with Rebecca. I'm going against the whole narrative. People are going to argue with me. Oh, well. And I just realized with the circle back and moved card, like circle back because she was moved there. Just saying. Because it came in one right after another. Circle back. And then I was like, was she moved? And then the moved card came out. So I'm just going to do some fast pulling of some other cards really quick. Just to like revalidate. And then I'll go over the astrology if you want to stick around for that. Unconscious. runaway, imprisonment, kidnapped, accident, escape, sexual intentions, homicide, murder, but suicide is next to it. So we keep having those cards together, either on the same card or together, because it's one being made to look like the other. Weapon, which we know there was one now. Interesting, strangulation twice, strangulation, strangled with a hand. We had asphyxiation before, so I don't know how the church is involved, but it's weird. Oops, that was in the wrong spot. So again, assassination. And then we have wooded area, firearm, which one was allegedly found with her, which is private property. Imprisonment. So imprisonment on private property, which I find interesting. The church, homicide, bones, she was found, mental health, because that was being said, love, and then suicide. We have both murder and suicide cards here, and that can come up if something's made to be look like it. Portal, crossroads. I'm telling you, there's something not right. There's something not right. That's why I can't let it go. I don't know if the mother figure keeps coming up because she's around the situation or what it is, or if she knows or is involved in somehow, or if she's part of the lies, or if there's some kind of weird. I mean, I don't know, because the neighbor and everything still came out in the cards. It still came out in the chart. Was there? I don't know. It's very, very feels like this is really entangled more than what it looks like. We have a false person. A grandparent I always take as an older person, and we got mature adult yesterday. Cult. I don't know. I know they're religious. Could be a church figure involved, because that's kind of like what was coming in the astrology. Maybe she reached out for help or something of that sort. Bloodline. Again, organized crime, which is just symbolic for it was an organized crime. And there's someone that's conning everybody, and their success doing so. Terrorism to the child, which she's considered the child in this deck. Thief. Spouse partner. That is her spouse partner, or because the chart doesn't scream like domestic partner. But I keep pulling that card, so I don't know if she was seeing somebody else. Maybe that's why they broke up. Thief I always take as like they stole something, like she stole her life, or whatever it may be. Pretends to be a good guy. That came in the astrology, that came in the other reading. I mean, there's no way with the other reading that I did, with as in depth as it was, that I went in with everything, that was all wrong. No way. So a couple again, hiding out, parental figure, female. See what I mean? I don't know why it keeps coming in. Parental figure, female. Family. Why does the family card coming in? Why does the mom card? It's just because it's around the situation. Because bad guy after that. Caregiver and accomplice in crime. And the caregiver I always take as, I always take that as somebody that's a caregiver, not necessarily a medical professional. I don't know. This is fucking wild. I don't understand. I mean, I do have just wondering, because there's still got to be a male that's like neighbor or someone that they knew involved, because that was definitely in the astrology. But we have a family member mother again. And again, organized crime. Again, like it was an organized crime. Not that they're in, you know what I mean. It's symbolic of the child that's now a ghost. Grandparent, again, older person. Child, again, she's coming in there again. Devil, male. Female father, accomplice in crime. Family, friend, dating. I mean, I don't know. I want to say if there's like some weird ass love triangle. I don't even know. This is weird. I don't even know how to like understand these right now. So interesting. Now I'm gonna go into the astrology. Okay, now I do have help with it. And so it's broken down for me, and I'm gonna break it down for you, and I will try to explain it the best that I can. The important thing is don't really listen to what the aspects are saying, like what the aspects are, I guess. Listen to what it means. That's the best way that you can kind of understand what's being said. Okay. All right. I will try to go as slow as I can because obviously I have to read it. So this chart was created to energetically assess the surrounding circumstances of the Camila case before the public narrative was finalized. I always work by combining astrology, intuitive downloads, and card systems to help align patterns, not predict headlines. Same thing has happened in Micah Miller and another case. I can't think of her name right now. And Nicole Bully. Nicola Bully. None of those are as they seem. I actually have a new thing I want to put out with her. But anyways. In this case, both the forensic chart and my reading suggested the involvement of another person and the possibility of a return to a previously searched location, which ultimately occurred. I understand the official story may differ. I'm not here to argue with it, only to share what showed up clearly before the public update for the sake of transparency, tracking, and spiritual accountability. Take what resonates, leaves what doesn't. So the rising sign is Capricorn 17 degrees. It's cold, calculated energy, often shows someone silenced, restricted, or hidden. The ruler of the ascendant is Saturn in Pisces at 13 degrees in the second house. Drowning, emotional suppression, it can be as subdued physical space or physical state. Saturn is slow, heavy, and sometimes shows postmortem placement, especially in Pisces, water illusion, and the second body. Sun in Capricorn, or Sun, Capricorn, 2 degrees in the 12th house. Hidden, unconscious, imprisoned, not visible. In forensics, the 12th is a major red flag for isolation, abduction, drugging, and hidden death. Moon, 17 degrees, and also the 12th, Aquarius, also the 12th house. Emotions hidden. Moon rules fluids. And when the 12th house, it often signals unconscious, held in isolation, or state of detachment from the body. Mercury retrograde in Capricorn, conjunct the sun. Secrets, deleted messages, silent retreat, or things unspoken. Mercury retrograde can often signal something reversed or covered up. 7th house, the other involved. 7th house ruler is Moon, rules Cancer. 7th house cusp is Cancer. Moon is the 12th house. Again, it implies another person who involved in her being hidden or harmed, and that they are no longer present in the public eye. Moon in Aquarius is emotionally cold party detachment, friend, group, or community involvement. 8th house, death, trauma indicators. 8th house cusp is Leo, ruled by the sun, again placed in the 12th, a house of hidden things, death. Mars in Sagittarius in the 11th house suggests a fast, possibly aggressive or impulsive action tied to a friend, social group, or even law enforcement, military themes. Mars, Sag. Mars square Neptune, also in Pisces in the second house. Distortion, deception, intoxication, or suffocation. This is not a clean or natural death. There's confusion, possibly drug-related or manipulative means. Mars trine North Node Aries could show destiny being altered by aggression or impulse. Placement of Neptune trickster obscure. Neptune at 26, Pisces in the second. This is deceptive signature about where the body is found or how she had died. Second house relates to the body. Neptune there is classic signal for mystery deaths, drownings, or drug overdoses, or staged scenes. Sometimes it is also literal water near the body or false reports. Location, field versus drainage. There is nothing in the fourth house, end of matter, that rules clear earth placements like Virgo or Taurus. However, Saturn and Pisces in the second house. The body conjunct Neptune implies water, soaking, drainage, or being moved. IC in Taurus, ruled by Venus and Scorpio, which is fixed and secretive, often buried, concealed, or held tightly. Not typically a wide open field unless it was used to cover up something prior. Midpoint clues suggest movement and placement was deliberate. A secondary location is very possible. Original hiding spot versus dump site. First thoughts, just from the chart alone. This is not a clean suicide chart. 12th house stacking and Neptune deception, 8th house Leo all point toward a hidden action possibly involving intoxication, trickery, or outright concealment. Held against their will. Moon in the 12th house conjunct the sun is a double indicator. Field being researched and suddenly yielding results is suspicious with Neptune square Mars, classic forensic signature of deliberate misplacement or misleading searchers. Which is why I kept saying circle back yesterday, because it was a place that was already searched, even if it wasn't where I was pointing to on the map. Like, again, I don't feel great on the map. I usually see things or feel like if they're close or not, which is what I said. Close in an already searched area. So 7th house, the other party. The 7th house is ruled by Cancer, so the moon represents the other person. The moon is in the 12th house. That's textbook forensic flag for the other person is hidden, not visible, possibly involved in concealment or the actual act. 12th house, prisons, institutions, silence, entrapment, isolation, or even drugs, which we don't think there is any, but she could have been drugged. Or there could have been things going on we don't know about. 8th house death. The 8th house cusp is Leo, ruled by the sun, which is also in the 12th house. This doubles down on a secretive death, possibly one that intentionally hidden or disguised. The 8th house often shows how someone dies or the energy around it. When it's ruled by Leo, with the sun buried in 12th, that's not open and voluntary. It screams what really happened is hidden. Religious background versus suicide indicators. And here's the thing, the astrology doesn't support a spiritually aware self-harm event. No strong 12th house Neptune conjunction to personal planets, which would show deep mental illness or spiritual distortion. Saturn and Pisces can show sadness or suppression, but it's not suicidal on its own. It's more of a weighted down body, especially in the second house, which rules the physical body. Jupiter, the planet of belief and religion, is retrograde in Gemini in the 5th house, suggesting her faith or voice may have been manipulated or questioned, or she may have been tricked by someone she trusted. This setup often shows someone who lived with faith, not someone who chose death out of despair. Was the scene staged? Highly likely. Neptune in the 2nd house, square Mars, supports faked location or position of body. Potential suicidal presentation created later. Weapon confusion, claimed missing but never seen clearly. The sun, Mercury, and moon the 12th, disappearing the truth. These are forensic placements of erasure, deletion, silence, and staging. This is often seen in drownings made to look like accidents, drugging followed by dumping, and suicides that don't line up with belief systems or physical conditions. So if we were to resketch the PERT profile from this, emotionally detached male, possibly a friend or religious acquaintance, moon in Aquarius in the 12th, may have had access to her phone or space, likely erased or altered something, Mercury retrograde, has a cold calculating vibe. This person would rationalize what he did, possibly as helping or hiding or ridding her of sin. Twisted belief logic, common in cults or extremist partners. How many times did I pull the cult card and stuff like that? Just saying. Like I said, she could have went to somebody for help because I saw her walking up and knocking on the door that she knew through church or whatever. So Saturn in Pisces and Neptune in the 2nd house suggests patterned deception. So what the chart says, factor in the interpretation of 12th house planets, she was hidden, silenced, and possibly imprisoned. came in the cards. Moon in the 12th house. Other person is hidden, possibly the one who concealed or harmed her. Neptune square Mars. Scene manipulation or deception about manner and location of death. Saturn in the 2nd house, Pisces, indicates suppression, restriction of the body, not freedom or escape. No clean markers for suicide, doesn't reflect impulsive or spiritually conflicted self-harm. So was Camilla asphyxiated? Because that came in. Yes, highly likely. I got the asphyxiation card. We had said it in the astrology before. So Mars in Libra is the ruler of sharp objects, weapons, is in the 11th house, not near the body, 1st, or death, 8th. This says weapon equals disconnected from the cause of death. So Mars also squares Neptune in Pisces, illusion, deception, water, fog, which screams staged method. Something was used as a cover. The 8th house, death, is ruled by the sun, and the sun is in the 12th, equals suffocating, isolation, hidden cause, non-visible death mechanism. No strong air signs or mercury afflictions, which you would suspect or expect with a death by gunshot or overdose scenario. The chart says not what it appears, something quiet, obscured, and suffocating. That aligns with asphyxiation, smothering, or pressure at the throat rather than a loud, obvious death like a firearm trauma. So, yes, asphyxiation is strongly supported. And if now they're talking about a weapon, it may be a cover story to redirect the narrative. Stage scene plan and weapon, yes. Family member's weapon was missing. That sets a massive red flag. A missing weapon resurfaces after disappearance, especially after a religious person with no signs of suicide. Well, she did have a little bit of signs, but still. She was planning on going dress shopping. Fits a plan and scene. Astrology agrees. Mercury retrograde in the 12th house. Information or items being reversed, reintroduced, or altered after the fact, which there's something that I can't wrap my head around is why she left her phone dead. Like, she's 19. She never goes anywhere without a phone. She talks to her friend every day on the phone. That's just, I don't know. That's weird to me. And I keep getting the never left card, and I can't. Something's off. Okay. Moon, the other person in the 12th, suggests someone knew her, possibly family member, neighbor, and tried to manipulate the narrative. This would be something like saying, oh, look, we found her with the missing gun. Must be suicide. Well, the truth is she was killed elsewhere, likely by asphyxiation, then placed and staged with an item that emotionally explains the outcome. So field was already searched. This is textbook's reappearance pattern, and the astrology confirms it. 12th house sun plus moon equals hidden until it's time to be found. Someone waited until the heat cooled off and then made her rediscoverable. Like I said, circle back. And this is why. Neptune in the 2nd, physical matter illusion. Things hidden in plain sight, moved or not found the first time due to intentional obstruction. This could suggest her body was moved there later. She was overlooked intentionally, especially if the field had tall grass, brush, drainage grates, or visual barriers, or the search was incomplete or obstructed. Field versus drainage hidden terrain. Yes, the chart doesn't support open terrain as a primary scene. The Sun, Moon, Mercury, all in the 12th, enclosed, isolated, veiled locations. These are not open fields. These are culverts, irrigation zones, ditches, and semi-urban void spaces. Even if she was found in a field, the chart suggests she may have been dragged there from somewhere else, covered or blended with debris on the edge of field near drainage or utility zone. So the earlier hits on the drainage water adjacent zone concealment still on point, still match the cards. Acquaintance, neighbor, family member involvement, 100% consistent. Moon, 7th house ruler in 12th. Someone known to her who concealed her or suppressed her could be a family member, moon, acquaintance, neighbor. Moon in Aquarius could be a community member. This person is detached, Aquarius, cold, manipulative, possibly religious or presenting righteous, could be male or female, but likely masculine dominant energy. So then I talked about in my first reading about the false prophet and someone that was like, pretending to be, and I saw him with the Bible. So there's definitely a male involved. It's just this, I don't understand how like that both of those two would go together. That's what's getting me. So the method was likely asphyxiation, not a firearm. The cover store is a weapon used to stage or mislead, possibly planted. The location was found after being searched, suspicious, likely placed later or hidden well. Involvement, acquaintance, family member, neighbor, cold and strategic, possibly religiously motivated. Not open field, more like drainage veiled zone on the edge of open terrain. Now, the ascendant Capricorn indicates a cold, somber atmosphere ruled by Saturn, often tied to depression, time, and constriction. Capricorn rising often appears when someone is seen to be struggling, but Saturn can also indicate external pressure or a burden placed upon the victim. Could point toward a calculated or repressed environment rather than impulsive self-harm. Ruler of the ascendant, Saturn in Pisces in the second house. Saturn in Pisces is foggy, spiritual, and sometimes self-sacrificial, but can only signify confusion, deception, and pressure from others. It being in the second house, suggests concerns over worth, values, or personal possessions. It's separating from the conjunction with Neptune, the planet of illusions, confusion, drugs, and spiritual fog or lies. Even if no drugs were involved, the signature can point to something being covered up, misunderstood, or misrepresented. Moon, natural ruler of the body and emotional state, 29 degrees Taurus, critical degree. The moon is at the 29 degrees, called the anaretic or fated degree. This is a crisis point, often emotionally charged or symbolic of accumulation. In Taurus, it reflects bodily themes, self-preservation, and sometimes food, sensuality, or grounding. Being right at the edge of the sign often shows at last moment decision or a critical transition that can be rushed or unnatural endings. It's approaching Gemini, a dual sign, which can imply two people involved or split motivations. Eighth house of death, Leo ruled by the sun. Leo rising in the eighth is dramatic, attention focused, and may indicate ego, romantic entanglements, or a need for control connected to the death. Ruler of the eighth, Sun, is in the second degree 2-degree Capricorn in the 12th house, a hidden house often tied to secrets, isolation, hospitals, or hidden enemies. This suggests the death was hidden or obscured, not clearly seen or understood at the time it occurred. The 12th house placement of the Sun heavily leans away from public self-initiated death and towards something done behind the scenes, or a person's energy being hidden, repressed, or manipulated. Mars in Sagittarius approaching galactic center at 27 degrees. Mars equals violence, aggression, and action. In Sagittarius, it's fast, fire-based, and opinionated. Its placement in the 11th house could point to someone in a broader social circle or even a friend figure who acted as a perpetrator. Sagittarius Mars can also speak to religious or philosophical conflict, especially tied to righteousness or source secrecy. Venus conjunct South Node in Libra, the 10th house, could signify karmic tie to public perception. Venus South Node can mean false peace or someone trying to present something as peaceful, loving that actually isn't. In Libra, the sign of relationships and balance, this could be someone trying to make things look right when they weren't. Pluto, death, control, secrets, 2 degrees Aquarius, first house. Pluto in the first shows transformation of the body of self, often through trauma or loss. This is not a quiet placement. When Pluto sits here in a crime chart, it often indicates a dominating force, someone controlling or taking over the victim's personal autonomy. This is not consistent with a quiet, private act of suicide. It's much more intervened. Environmental indicators, field versus drainage. Fourth house cusp, the grave of final location, Aries ruled by Mars. Aries is dry and hard terrain, typically more active, rough than flat, quiet field. Ruler Mars in Sagittarius suggests something open, possibly sloped or outdoor, like a ravine, ditch, or an area with elevation difference. Not perfectly flat, could also be roadside or field with bordering drainage. Mars in Sag, 11th house, a place someone else suggested or a spot already known to others, not random. Mercury, thoughts, communication, 23 degrees Sagittarius combusts the sun. Mercury is burned by the sun. Information is obscured or overwhelmed. Mercury in the 6th and 9th houses in this chart, daily behavior and belief systems. So something was hidden from daily life or not spoken of. Also, combust Mercury is common when the truth is being hidden or suppressed. 12th house activity, Sun, Mercury. This is the house of hidden enemies, mental illness, confinement, and spiritual suppression. When both the Sun and Mercury is in the 12th, there is a strong theme of isolation, silencing, and secrets. It also supports impressions of asphyxiation or quiet restraint, as the 12th is where the air and visibility disappear. Final observations are the chart does not support a clear-cut suicide. It does support spiritual suppression or pressure, hidden enemies or betrayal, isolation not chosen freely, false false surface narrative, obscured or controlled ending. Pluto first, Sun 12th. The presence of multiple 12th house and Neptune themes means something is still unclear. There may have been misdirection, cover up, or even deception in the investigation itself. If this were truly a suicide with no outside involvement, the 7th house, which traditionally rules the other open enemies, known persons, or perpetrators in forensic horary astrology, would not be activated in a culpable or antagonistic way. If it was suicide, the first house, Camilla, would show self-inflicted harm indicators. Mars ruling on the first, Saturn afflicting the moon, 8th house aspects. There would be no significant tension from the 7th house or its ruler. The chart would typically show internal factors, moon plus Saturn, maybe Neptune for despair or delusion, but no interaction with you or them figure. But if the 7th house is active or angular, that's a strong clue of another person being involved, especially if the 7th house ruler is afflicting the moon, her, or 8th death. If the 7th house overlays or aspects the 4th burial scene, 3rd lured or short trip, or Neptune, it increases suspicion of manipulation, staging, or hidden action. If the 7th ruler is conjunct Mars, Pluto, or Lucifer, that's a huge red flag. 7th house correctly as a potential indicator of a known person, suspect, perp, for an enemy, ex, talking to someone, individual. Its presence and activity in their chart rules out solo, self-only action unless distorted by illusions, which we already ruled out via the horary confirmation that I did on No Foul Play, which I'm not going to put all that here, but I asked and I got no. That was last night when I was like spiraling into, oh my gosh, I think I'm wrong. So, the 7th house overview is a Cancer rising on the descendant. Cancer is in the sign of the cusp of the 7th house, meaning the moon is the ruler of the 7th, represents the other person, possibly the perpetrator. The moon then becomes the key suspect indicator in the chart. Moon placement in the chart. So, this shows that the perp may present as charming. Oh, I forgot this. So, at 6:58 a.m., 12/24/25, the moon is in Libra, likely in the 9th or 10th house, depending on the exact rising degree. The perp may present as charming, peacekeeping, socially appropriate, or even polite, Libra masking. Public appearance, outward persona, or something to do with distance, higher beliefs, or education may play a role. If Cancer rules the 7th, the perp is emotionally reactive, familiar, or seen as a part of the community or even family-like. The moon as ruler indicates the perp may blend in emotionally or be someone trusted but unstable or moody beneath the surface. The Libra placement of the moon means they could appear balanced, but it may be a mask for guilt or guilt-tripping behavior. All of this came in the original reading. It's just being said differently. This confirms that there's a perp signature and it's not neutral. The moon's rulership of the 7th brings a person into focus. If this were suicide only, we wouldn't see that type of activation. Cancer 7th and Libra moon combo also echoes family, friend, neighbor, acquaintance vibe that come through the cards, a soft persona hiding dark motives. 7th house signature. Again, Cancer's on the 7th house cusp in the crime chart. This alone already shows someone else's purpose involved. Emotional, protective, possibly family-led or emotionally unstable. No traditional planets in the 7th, but the ruler of the 7th moon is placed in Scorpio in the 11th house, secretive, intense, and emotionally manipulative. Moon is in a water sign, and that rules the 7th, which could imply drowning, emotional coercion, or events tied to substances or seduction. Neptune, illusion, poison, confusion. Neptune is square Mercury and the moon, increasing fog, lies, possible deceit, and confusion around facts or testimony. Fits well with not everything is as it seems card. 7th house perpetrator, anchor. The 7th house cusp, Cancer moon ruled. The perpetrator is symbolically ruled by the moon, which is located 20 degrees Aquarius in the 2nd house. This can suggest detached, emotionally distant individual. 2nd house may apply material motivation, money, possession, power dynamics. Aquarius moon is cold, clever, possibly tech savvy, with a tendency to emotionally disassociate or justify harm as logical. Could signal someone already known, Cancer familiarity, or a woman moon, but also manipulative maternal energy or someone who mirrors your own emotional body. Additional red flags. Mars at 6 degrees Capricorn in the 1st house is conjunct the ascendant. Mars here is exalted and making it strong, deliberate, calculating. The action of the moment, Mars, is likely premeditated, even if subtle. Mars in the first can signal injury, pain, blood, or male involvement. Pluto at 2 degrees Aquarius is close to the moon conjunction forming, suggesting manipulation, psychological domination, or trauma. Neptune 29 degrees, Pisces near the third house, deception, unclear communication, or potentially substance involvement. But the Jupiter RX, second house moon, familiar location, perhaps even personal possession or comfort zone. Jupiter retrograde in Cancer on the 7th could imply a perpetrator known but withdrawn, or someone involved in a caretaker or protector role. Inversion of Jupiter benevolence. False ally plus acquaintance mom equals dual energy. A female cover facilitator, possibly spiritual or maternal in presentation, and a male direct perpetrator or the enforcer actor behind the event. The 7th house cusp is Cancer, ruled by the moon in Aquarius, equals detached logic, possibly male presenting despite feminine rulership. However, the moon is conjunct Pluto, and Pluto is often masculine, coded, and controlling, suggesting the perpetrator may use a female presence to hide his true intentions, manipulate or dominate others psychically, emotionally, or psychologically, be working with or through a female, such as a family member, partner, or a spiritual authority figure. Capricorn Mars in the first house also indicates male encoded aggression. It's cold, strategic, and empowered here. The horary showed foul play, even though the police were pushing suicide. I had it done. We did it yesterday. But so that actually is consistent with Neptune at 29 degrees Pisces. Confusion, spiritual bypassing, illusion can also show drugs, but here might reflect emotional manipulation or mental instability staged. Mars in the first, the act of harm coming from outside self. The moon, second house placement with Pluto, ownership, value, control, not self-harm. The Neptune and Pluto placement scream obscured truth, staging, or even emotional leverage and psychic control by someone else. Likely scenario: a male perpetrator orchestrated or committed the act. A female false ally was either present, enabling, or covering afterwards. The female energy may have led her to the male, either directly or subtly. Spiritual distortion, emotional grooming, or religious moral manipulation might have been in play, especially if she was religious. Everything in the chart and the validations around the same thing. That's not what it looks like. The chart confirms a perpetrator exists. In true suicide, we would not see a strong 7th house signature here. We do see Cancer on the 7th house ruled by the moon. Moon in Aquarius conjunct Pluto. A person with influence, control, or hidden presence, emotionally detached but strategically placed. Mars in the first house, classic marker of violence, action, external force done to the victim, not to self. Deception, confusion, and manipulation. I ran the asteroids, right? So I'll go into that in a minute. But Neptune at 29 degrees, Pisces critical degree, massive distortion, gaslighting, spirit, which that card literally came in, spiritual misdirection, Saturn Neptune conjunction, someone building an illusion or creating a story, a narrative that doesn't reflect reality. Moon and Pluto, trauma, emotional entrapment, and spiritual warfare. The chart is literally encoded in illusion, buried truth, and external forces masked as internal pain. Two people energy, perp and handler cover. So it could be that someone knew what was happening but minimized or covered. Acquaintance mom could reflect maternal figure who knew enough to know but not enough to stop it, or worse, helped enable it. So that's why the chart is getting like male and female, because both are present, just playing different roles. We often see this in spiritual exploitation cases or orchestrated deaths where a false support figure is the bridge between the victim and perpetrator. Okay, so this is... yeah. Okay, so this is going to kind of go over the similar stuff, but I added in asteroids and all of that. So, ascendant Sagittarius, 25 degrees, ruler Jupiter, Capricorn, tightly conjunct Mercury, and I probably cannot say these freaking names, okay? Floidus, and not far from Mars. Ixion, Ixion. The midheaven is in Virgo, 18 degrees, ruled by Mercury, tying this event to hidden communications, short travels, or movement near the local environment. This chart strongly emphasizes the Capricorn Aquarius zone, first and second houses, which often signals control, restraint, and in some cases, coercion and planning. First house, identity of the event, offender profile clues. IX, crime. It means crime, immorality. 2 degrees Capricorn. Filius, explosions, sudden events. 4 degrees Capricorn. Jupiter, expansion, moral. 7 degrees Capricorn. Mercury, movement, messages. 8 degrees Capricorn. Cluster suggests the perpetrator may be someone known to her, possibly someone in the position of trust or influence, potentially manipulative or coercive, as Capricorn can show dominant or predatory patterns. Ixion, flawless. I cannot say these words. IXION and PHOLOUS plus Mercury plus Jupiter equals a dangerous conversation or offer disguised as help that turned quickly. Could indicate transport, a setup, or a cover-up involving false communication or deceptive arrangements. Fourth house, ground, hiding, or final location. Aries at 23 degrees Aries is in the fourth house, home base, endings, or where someone ends up. Aries is discord, chaos, and karmic injustice. Her placement here may indicate a violent or chaotic outcome, possibly in a rugged remote area or location surrounded by disorder or debris. Remote scrub, places upheaval, things like that. Aries and Aries may suggest rage, male perpetrator energy, or someone with a warrior persona, potentially aggressive and impulsive. Eighth house, death, trauma, or crime scene markers. Sedna at 28 degrees. Taurus in the 8th house. This is significant. Sedna often shows betrayal, abandonment, or someone left behind in the elements, often linked to water, cold, or isolation. Taurus is in a fixed earth sign. This could literally mean she's buried or in a low earthly place like drainage ditch, shallow grave, field, farmlands, construction areas, storage zones. The betrayal here may have come from someone she trusted and may involve freezing out or discarding her physically and emotionally. Asteroid clues. Is it Osiris? ORCUS. Orcus? Oath, death, and soul contract. Virgo 6. In the 9th house, travel judgment. Often shows up when someone was bound by a promise or manipulated through control. Make, and I'm so sorry. I really cannot pronounce crap. Humia, both in Leo in the 8th and 9th houses. These dwarf planets bring up creative deception, biological themes, or multiple people involved, sometimes women as accomplices or witnesses. Key themes and red flags. Planned ambush disguised as a ride, help, or favor. Trust, betrayal, possibly someone she knew or communicated with shortly before. Potential transport or movement, then rapid shift to violence. 4th and 8th house are activated. The situation likely ended quickly with deliberate concealment. Fire and earth signatures dominant. This could point to buried area near heat, such as remote burn sites, construction zone, desert terrain, fire history. Why this does not look like a suicide chart. In forensic astrology, suicide charts usually show some combination of a strong 12th house collapse with the ruler tightly afflicted, Neptune dominating the ascendant or moon without counteraction, lack of a clear 7th house actor, no other, a closed system. The story starts and ends with the same signifier. That is not what you have here. What you have instead is a very active 1st through 7th axis of self and other. Heavy Capricorn clustering involving Mercury, Jupiter, those words again, Sphilius, and Laxion. Probably said it better that time. Eris activated in the angular house. Sedna in the 8th house. This is huge. Those signatures do not support a solitary, internally contained act. The chart does show another party involved, even without named asteroids, Ixion, Sirius, Mercury cluster. This is a classic forensic combination for a conversation or interaction that turns suddenly, someone acting out moral norms, a small action, irreversible outcome scenario. This often shows a ride, an offer, a meeting, a come with me moment, come to my house. Like I saw her, even if it was symbolic of her going up and knocking on the door, like I saw the yard. I don't know why I saw it. I saw it for a reason, the pinwheel for a reason. So, it can be, hey, come over, let me help you, that kind of thing. Again, but that alone argues against suicide. About movement and being found in a previously searched field. That part matters a lot. What the chart supports. Mutable rising, Sagittarius, movement, travel, relocation. Mercury ruling the MC, logistics, paths, and routes. Sedna and Taurus, delayed discovery, abandonment, being left where she was not initially. Sedna frequently shows someone placed somewhere after the fact or left in a location that should have been safe and obvious, often tied to earth, low areas, ditches, drainage, shallow depressions. So a field that had already been searched fits Sedna symbolism extremely well, especially if visibility changed, or placement changed, or search parameters changed. Drainage versus field. This is not a contradiction. A lot of people get tripped up here, but astrologically, Taurus and Capricorn plus Pisces activations do not mean open field. They can include drainage swells, runoff areas, low points in land, edges of fields, places water moves through seasonally. So card saying drainage, body found in a field can both be true if the field contains a low point, a ditch, a runoff line, or a place not visibly obvious at first pass. That does not invalidate the reading. Why law enforcement leans suicide and why that doesn't end the story. From forensic astrology standpoint, Capricorn heavy charts often get labeled as self-inflicted early. Just saying. Especially if there's mental health history or if a weapon narrative is convenient. But the chart shows interaction, escalation, disruption, relocation, or concealment, which means even if a weapon is involved, it does not automatically equal suicide astrologically. Bottom line, very plainly, this is not straightforward suicide chart. Another person's involvement is strongly suggested. Movement relocation after the initial incident is supported. Drainage symbolism still fits what ultimately occurred. My doubt is coming from pressure not because I'm wrong. The 7th house holds the perpetrator signature. 7th house means the other person. If this were clear-cut suicide, the house would typically not contain clear indicators of another person's agency or role. Camilla's chart, Gemini is on the descendant, DC brings in Mercury as ruler in the 7th. Mercury's combust, burnt by the sun in the 12th, not healthy Mercury. Combustion can imply hidden action, suppression, cover-ups, or mental deterioration, but not in isolation. This overlays the 12th house themes, it can involve isolation, imprisonment, being watched, which came in, or secret enemies. So if anything, this could point to someone else's covert involvement, not a clean initial decision. Moon's role, mental state, last aspects. The moon here is Aries in the 4th, emotional overwhelm, impulsivity, maybe anger, making aspects to Chiron and Jupiter, but more importantly, squaring Pluto and heading toward a conjunction with Eris, which is discord goddess. That's important. The moon's applying aspects, especially in Pluto and Eris, can show external pressure, chaos, or power struggle. Again, that doesn't scream peaceful exit. Field already searched equals suicide, something critical. She was found in a field that was already searched, allegedly. That's what I was told. Spirit and the chart already indicated something being revisited, circle back with the cards, or uncovered after being missed. The 12th house emphasis often gives hidden in plain sight or passed over the first time themes. That field could symbolize the 12th house hidden dimension. It doesn't mean it was suicide. It can mean it was concealed. So the reading aligned with astrology. The card show drainage, often symbolizes emotional purging, water themes, or abandonment zones. It could be around the area too. A field can symbolically carry these themes if it has culverts, irrigation lines, or sits low in ditch-like area. So, and being pushed and pushed and pushed. Well, this was like, I keep getting these cases that like go against everything. Go against what's being said. And so like I'm just here to put out the truth. I'm here to put everything together. And that's why I like to use multiple ways to validate, not just what I see, not just what I feel. The cards as tools that are extension of the user. They're more accurate the more psychic you are. Mine like to tell a story. I flow with my cards. I asked my rods said it wasn't that either, but that's also an extension of me. You know, when I first did the reading, the balls went off at certain times, especially held against their will. The astrology doesn't lie. Forensic astrology doesn't lie, especially if it's read correctly. And I've had this read 3 different times, 3 different ways. I've had it looked over by people that help me. And I think, software, all of that. So
I don't know what to say. Like, this is not as it seems, and that's why I got pulled in. Because if it was just a regular unaliving, I probably wouldn't be pulled to it the way that I was. I tend to get pulled to these sort of cases that are complicated, that don't fit the narrative, that I have to really uncover what's really going on. And like, for instance, the Sydney one, I did that one is more of just like something happening, and I will put that out because I actually saw where she was today or what she was in. And like, whenever I give you guys locations, I'm just giving you where the astrology shows, but like I said, anywhere close by, circle back to that matches what I was talking about. So that's it. That's all I can say. That's all I can say. I can't I can't make the astrology fit what's being said. And I think I think that was being pushed. It was being pushed by someone for a reason. The whole, suicide thing. I think it was being pushed for a reason. I really do. That doesn't mean she didn't suffer from it. That doesn't mean she didn't have mental health, but I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense to me. None of it. So,
Okay, so I wanted to add a few horror questions that I did. So that's basically you ask the question and then the astrology gives you the answer. So the first thing I asked was if it was foul play. And there was no applying aspect between Jupiter and Mars. Jupiter was her and Mars was death. Suggests that she did not walk into death willingly. If it were suicide, we'd expect Mars, death, and Sun self undoing to connect. They do not. Also, no strong dignities or receptions between these rulers. No cooperation, not voluntary. Sun, self-inflicted harm. Sun is in Capricorn, combusts Mercury, and under the beams. This shows a clouded mind, external manipulation, not self-directed clarity. It also is placed in the fourth house, reinforcing the idea that this was covered up or occurred in a local meant to hide, but not to end things openly. Mars, cause of death. Mars is either in the eighth or ruling it. Its position is cadent and possibly peregrine. Violent but hidden, disconnected from benefics. So this Mars does not represent self-inflicted death. It suggests force or involvement from another person. Moon. The moon separates from Venus and is applying to Saturn. That shows emotional loss and grief for coldness from another. Moon's path shows the story. Something beautiful lost, Venus, leading into isolation or harsh control, Saturn. This fits trauma or external cause. So the judgment of this is no, this chart does not support self-inflicted death. There's no dignified connection between the death signature and the self-harm house. Instead, the chart shows disconnection of things being obscured and misdirection. Someone else appears responsible, possibly someone known or trusted but not obvious. The lack of tight aspects could mean they distanced themselves immediately or staged it as well. And then I asked, what is the character and involvement of the person responsible? I'm ruled by the sun in this question. Strong will, searching for truth, fixed energy. Seventh house perpetrator, Aquarius, 2 degrees. Perpetrator is ruled by Saturn, which I think it is in the regular chart. I remember right. Or there's a Saturn aspect, I think Aquarius. Cold, hidden, detached. Possibly someone older, emotionally cut off. That matches the first reading. Lord of the seventh, Saturn, Pisces, 16 degrees in the 8th house. Hiding, secrets, possibly death connection, may suggest this person is linked to the death directly or handled the body. Pisces adds confusion and deception. Moon, flow of events, Libra, 16 degrees in the 3rd house. Communication, neighborhood, short trips, close to home. Moon squares Saturn, emotional resistance or blockage from truth. Sun, me, Capricorn, 9 degrees in the 5th house. Trying to illuminate the truth, but Sun is combust Mercury. Details obscured. Still strong. Profile of the perpetrator. Saturn and Pisces, 8th house. Ruler. Saturn is cold, controlled, possibly older, may wear a public mask, which came in the first reading. Pisces, elusive, secretive, may use drugs, alcohol, water motifs. House 8th. Directly tied to death, sex control, hidden dealings, fear of exposure. This shows someone emotionally cut off, possibly manipulative with dual lives. Their role could include
causing the death, concealing the body, or manipulating the story. They operate from the shadows and may try to spiritualize or disguise their actions. Pisces trait. Additional indicators. Moon square Saturn. Emotional truths are blocked. Person may have no remorse or be delaying confession. Venus and Scorpio in the fourth. Secrets in the home or on the property. Often suggests something hidden in a familiar space near the foundation or roots. Could point towards home property, family involvement, or concealed evidence. Mars and Cancer in the 12th house. Hiding aggression, sneaky actions. Mars's fall here. Frustrated, dangerous, could represent male energy acting indirectly, emotionally unstable, or acting under pressure. So the interpretation is the chart suggests that the person responsible is male or carries Sagittarian energy, cold, hidden, emotionally detached, which came in the first reading. They are strongly connected to the act of death itself, 8th house, and are likely not just a witness. There's something hidden at or very close to the home property, Venus and Scorpio, 4th house, which could be her. This person may have repositioned the body or covered tracks post-mortem. Saturn and Pisces, murky shifting. No remorse, emotionally cold, but known or once trusted. Now, was the caretaker involved in causing the cover-up of Camila's death? This phrasing helps clarify the casual role, accessory role, and if she acted alone or with another. So the fourth house ruler is the parent of the victim based on the whole sign. Moon also often co-rules the mother or the situation flow. In this chart, fourth house cusp equals Scorpio, and the ruler is Mars. So Mars is in Cancer in the 12th house, extremely hidden, secretive placement. Mars is in fall, which could mean dishonor, moral weakness, or lack of integrity. Moon, emotional truth, feminine energy, squares Saturn perpetrator. It's actually hinted at a possible tension, guilt between the mother and the one responsible. Interpretation of Mars in the 12th. So Mars rules the mother's house, and the being in the 12th shows hidden involvement, possibly acting behind the scenes, guilt or shielding someone else. Cancer equals emotionally reactive, protective of family, but here it's emotionally unstable. Combined with Venus and Scorpio in the 4th house, it's secrets within the home, possibly financial or control-based motives. Saturn perpetrator in the 8th, death-related actions. This could be collusion, a pact of silence, or she was aware something happened and didn't stop it. Are both involved? There's no direct applying aspect between Mars, mother, and Saturn perpetrator, but both are in water signs, hidden houses, 12th and 8th, and not in mutual reception. This may imply parallel actions, knowledge of events, but not necessarily working in sync. One may be acting out of fear, coercion, or trauma, bond, loyalty. The final summary is signs the mother may be involved. Mars, her ruler, is in the 12th house, hidden actions. Venus and Scorpio, 4th, secrets in home. Moon, square Saturn, emotional burden, possibly guilt or complicity. Signs she may not be in the primary cause, no direct aspect between her and Saturn. Mars is weaker than Saturn, suggests that she may be under his control or acting reactively. Also, so then I asked if she was moved, because it's interesting that even though we got circle back, and I told, when I turned in my tip, I said, go back to search locations, go back kind of basically the beginning. I didn't put together the property at that time. Sometimes things don't come to light till afterwards, but so I asked because it's just weird to me that she was missed that whole time. So body death indicators: 8th house death, 4th house grave, place of rest, and traditional death significators. Saturn, Pluto, Mars, and Moon. Indicators of movement or relocation. Moon, my signifier, is in the 29-degree Aries. This is critical and ending sign, which strongly points to imminent change or transition. Moon is void, of course, which suggests nothing more will happen, but only if the matter is settled, and here it suggests ambiguity or hidden unfinished action. Saturn in the body is at 5 degrees Pisces in the 8th house by whole sign. This confirms death and shows the body situated in a watery, confusing, hard to reach location, often associated with being concealed, secluded, or misunderstood. Pluto is conjunct the descendant in the 7th house cusp. This is very loud. Pluto is on an angle that can scream of manipulation, hidden forces, or interference. It can also indicate that something happened to the body post death, either tampered with, shifted, or masked. Mercury, natural ruler of movement, is retrograde in Capricorn in the 6th. Retrograde Mercury equals going back, repeating steps, circling back. It also squares Neptune, suggesting deception, illusion, or unclear information about movements. 4th house, burial resting place, ruled by Libra with Venus in the 5th house in Sagittarius. Venus squares Saturn in the body, showing tension or difficulty in resting final placement and could represent a movement that created disharmony or concealment. Venus conjunct South Node Ketu suggests loss, absence, or draining of proper burial. Honoring. Interpretation, yes, the chart suggests that she was likely moved after death or at a minimum repositioned, replaced, or tampered with. The key points that confirm this are Pluto on the descendant, hidden intervention, Moon at 29 degree, it's a crisis degree, end of phase movement, retrograde Mercury, retracing steps, circling back, Venus square Saturn plus South Node, struggle to be at rest. Saturn in Pisces 8th house, secretive, isolated, possibly spiritual, confusing space. When Pluto sits exactly on the angle like that, especially the 7th, and Mercury is retrograde, it's a cosmic signature for truth being twisted, hidden by others, or only revealed through long, painful unraveling. It screams of secrets kept under pressure, not because they're unknowable, but because people are actively suppressing them. And remember that Moon at 29 degrees Aries also says something isn't fully done. That final movement hasn't landed yet. Retrograde Mercury and the square to the Neptune implies that truth may resurface, perhaps in distorted form or through someone accidentally slipping. And even if they don't confess, the energy of interference is undeniable. That alone means that the inside is real and it's there. Might not get full justice from the outside world, but on the spiritual and cosmic level, there will be accountability. And when people like us keep asking and investigating and tuning in, that sacred circle back card that will help reopen energetic doors that we thought were locked. So I think that's basically it. I'm exhausted. I want to get this edited and get it out because I already know I'm going to have 500 million messages about how wrong I was. So I don't care. I'm here to stack the validations. And like I said with Rebecca, when my visions align, which are very murky, by the way, because of Neptune, so I had a hard time seeing it. Cards align, the astrology aligns. That's not anything I'm willing to deny. Y'all know that I'm usually accurate in my cases. And if I'm way, way far off like that and nothing makes sense, I usually pick up on, you guys know, if it's a walkaway case, if it's something they do to themselves, whatever, I usually pick up on that. I don't usually force a perpetrator. So I have checked this vigorously multiple times because the pressure is real to be right on these sort of things, whether people realize it or not, because people will forget all the times that you're right and just focus on the times you're wrong. No different than Melody's case, and I'm still struggling with my confidence on that. And I had a video I wanted to make about that because it speaks to the dissociation of the mom and all of the stories that she was putting out, and that's what I picked up on. So, and I didn't recheck it because everything felt okay because the distortion was so loud. So it's kind of taught me that I need to make sure that I'm double checking with different ways. And when everything lines up, it lines up. I can't, say any more than that. And yes, I'm working differently. So there is recalibration that has to take place. And as much as I would love to still work the old way, it's just not feasible right now. Does that mean in the future? Maybe not. I don't know. I'm just trying to go where I'm led, how I'm led, and work the best way that I can right now. And this is less energetically draining, although I feel exhausted all of a sudden. But yep, this is how it is. And the one thing I keep wondering about, and this is kind of like how the chart kind of explains it, like what if like she was having certain thoughts or feelings or whatever, and she just wanted to go to someone to get help, and they basically, you know, used that or took that as weakness, or was like pretending to help. Do you know what I mean? Or kind of made her feel like they were helping. Um I don't know if that's like some kind of assisted suicide, or if it's like that, I'm going to put you out of your misery type thing. I don't even want to say that. There's definitely distortion here. There's definitely fogginess because of all the Neptune at play. And like, I don't make up my visions. I know what I saw. I know I saw her going to a house where the house exists, or it was more symbolic. I don't know. I know I saw the yellow flower thing. I know that I, again, have pulled multiple charts. They all say the same thing. And the cards align with it. Like, I don't know what to say. I can't make the cards be something that they're not. And usually, like, I just did the other case today. I looked at it really quick for the little girl that was missing. There's certain things that I saw, and it was a mental health thing, and I felt that. And Camilla had a little bit of depression and mental health things going on. I didn't sense it very strongly with her. It didn't come across that way in the reading ever, or in the astrology, or in the cards. So that's the best thing that I can say and do, is just put out the truth as I know it after cross-referencing and cross-checking everything. And I'm not here to make anybody believe me. That really doesn't matter. The point is that I put out what I get. That's all I can do, and trust it, which is really hard. A lot of times I spiral because I'm like, I don't want to be wrong. Last night I kept thinking, am I sure that it's this and not suicide? Because everybody's pushing suicide. Am I sure about that? Like, can't tell you how many times that I've sat and looked over at the chart, pulled the cards, was going to get ready to auto write, because I was just like, I know when I started auto writing for the reading, I know what I saw. So that's all I can say about this. And again, I don't usually put out a lot of astrology, but in this case, I feel like I have to prove it. So whenever I have cases, I feel like I have to prove it. It's because I know not everybody's going to listen to me as a psychic, but maybe they'll listen to the astrology. I don't know. Or maybe when you blend it together, I mean, when you blend the astrology together and you blend the cards together, it kind of paints an interesting picture. It's almost like I feel like maybe she wasn't imprisoned, as far as like, how, like, maybe she was held against her will in a way, or imprisoned against her way. Like, maybe she went to this guy, like maybe she was imprisoned in her life, right? But then maybe she went to this guy to get help, and she ended up getting kind of held against her will or whatever. And I know it sounds odd. I know this sounds like a conspiracy theory, and you know me, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. Like, everybody pointed to Kylie Rodney and that being a conspiracy, and I was like, no, it's not. This is how it is. Like, a lot of times if there's walk-offs, I'll say there's walk-offs. Like, a lot of people said the same thing with Jay. Oh, it was foul play. And I'm like, it's not. So it's kind of like, if I can't let something go and I have like a weird feeling about it, I mean, it's not reading that way to me. It's not reading that way in the astrology. It's not reading that way in the cards. Like, literally, I said, give me the truth on this. And they said, no foul play. And then I said, foul play. That tells me they're saying it's no foul play, but there is. Like, the odds of those two cards coming up together just is like one, and I don't even know. And then when I got the circle back moved, I asked about the moved, and then it came up. So you're wild, girl. But I mean,
You're putting your tail on there and it's making it go off. That's the REM pod. My REM pod bear got killed. So, that's basically it. I know that, like, I literally put a little video on, well, we know it works at least. It went off before I turned this on. And, before I turned the camera on, it went off. But of course, that's how it works. So, anyways, I put this little short clip on TikTok, and I wasn't going to put cases on there anymore because people just scroll without understanding how it works or watching the full reading or whatever. And I just put it on there for the balls. You know what I mean? But I'm sure I'll hear a bunch of shit. I'm sure I'll hear a bunch of crap from everybody about how, no, I'm wrong. But look, me and a lot of other readers got the same thing. The astrology is pointing one way, the cards are pointing one way. That's all I can say. Regardless of how this turns out, I have to stick with what I get. So, all right, until next time. Trust your intuition, trust your gut if something doesn't feel right. I kept being pushed for this for a reason. If it was just something as simple as that, I wouldn't feel what I feel or be pushed the way that I get pushed. So, thank you guys for liking, subscribing, being a part of the channel. I appreciate you. And